After the VBS Mutual Bank slid into a liquidity crisis, the Reserve Bank put it under curatorship in March this year. Last week, Dr. Mkhize met with 14 municipalities who invested a total of 1.5 billion rand. Now, these 14 municipalities can be found across the Northwest, Limpopo and Gauteng. For more on this, I'm joined in studio by Dr. Zweli Mkhize. So, General Holomisa has accused you of being part of the reason of corruption at VBS and produced a document that says it was addressed to a meeting between the TG and Africa Oil. You've denied these allegations.
Yes, I've denied them because they are untrue. It's lies. Let me just explain a few quick things. Firstly, as the Treasurer General, one of the things that I do is to meet many companies. I meet local companies, international companies, South African, small, big, and everything. And we talk to them, and they present to us what they do, etc., etc. And in that process, it's all about discussing with them transformation, job creation, and all of that. So indeed, I did meet with Africa Oil, and it was a general presentation that was just about what they do and so on. Very promising company, it sounded, and that's all it was. Then, and of course, they were introduced by Zweli Mkhize, but even then, with Zweli Mkhize, it's a company that I know, because most of the members are members of the African National Congress. Then there was a meeting also with VBS, and in terms of VBS, it was again because they were a black company, so we're just talking to them, encouraging them. Just to give a bit of a background there, because for the past 3 or so years, I've been working on transformation in the financial services sector. So I've met all the banks, I've met all the black asset managers and the asset management companies, insurance companies. We've had several workshops and summits to discuss the issue of transformation. So this is the context of this matter. There was never a meeting where I discussed the issue of getting investment for VBS, from municipalities, from state-owned enterprises. Anyone who would say that is actually lying. And I've then seen the document. The document has been around and a few people have had it. And so it was brought to my attention and I looked at the document. The document is fake. The content, as far as I'm concerned, I've never been in such a meeting. I've never been in a meeting where I was given tasks to the TG to do things for those companies. So it's a lie. Now, if anybody would discuss that, then somebody must explain what it was all about. In terms of the document itself, I've seen that it's actually, it's got no author and it's got mixed up pages and so on. So it doesn't look like a genuine document in any case.
Okay, political will is very important in dealing with some of the issues you've raising, especially when it comes to issues like the Black Industrialist Program, perhaps, or Black Economic Empowerment. I'm just trying to understand. You've said you've played no role in pushing for business for VBS. And you've also said in your statement that you congratulated them on being a black bank. So how do these two statements reconcile? You didn't help them at all, or you didn't help them with municipal deposits?
You see, the general issue that I was working on was that in the ANC, we were asked to work on the state bank issue. Yes. So we're going through those discussions. But we're also looking at promotion of the black bank. We're also looking at transformation in the financial services sector. So we had meetings with all the banks. There's no bank leader that I've never met. All of them, we even got them into a task team where some of the black leaders in the financial services sector, the auditings, the audit firms, the big and the small, the black firms, the asset managers, the big and the small, and the banks and all of that, we pulled them together and we said, we want to see transformation, we want to see radical economic transformation shifting in that direction. And it had nothing to do with this issue of municipalities. And if I can say to you now, the only time I found out about the issue of municipalities was when it broke out in the media. I've never been involved in such a discussion.
Okay. So in your capacity as Co-operative Minister, and perhaps you can go back and take us into your confidence in whether the previous Minister, Des van Rooyen, spoke to you, because in terms of the Municipal Finance Management Act, when an account is opened by municipalities, they need to go to Co-operative and Treasury and say, before the start of each financial year, this is the bank where we hold an account, this is the type of account it is, this is the number of the account. That wasn't done, and that's also a very big shortcoming in terms of Treasury and Provincial Treasury and the Auditor General. So we can't just go, this VBS thing was an isolated incident. That's a very big red flag, surely.
Yeah, firstly, Minister Des van Rijn, we did discuss. When he handed over to say there are a number of issues, and they then indicated that those issues, if we discuss with the Director General and the DDGs, they'll raise some of these issues. So I noted that. I went through those kind of presentation with the staff at COGTA. So I've got that, but we didn't discuss the issue of VBS. When the issue of VBS broke out, we first got a briefing from the Reserve Bank, who told us that they were handling the issue, they were investigating and so on. And we have had our own process inside COGTA. We are determined to get to the bottom of the problem of VBS. We want to know who authorized the funds to be transferred. This issue of compliance, when we discussed with them, we were asking exactly the same question. How did the money land up with VBS Bank? Aren't you aware of the circular and the legislation, the regulations that say how you invest the money? And of course, we have said that we need to know if there was a report that was given to the councils. In some instances, there have been just general reports. We wanted a proper investigation. So the Treasury and Co-operative in the provincial departments, will take the investigation forward. We want to see consequences, want to see action taken on this. We also are aware of the forensic audit process that, again, involving the police, the Hawks and so on. We will cooperate and support all of those processes until we get to the bottom of this issue.
Okay, Dr. Mkhize, this is not the first time you've been accused of having a hand in some sort of corruption, either kickbacks to do with PRASA. The other issue that was raised was about Block 9 in the Cape South Coast. So what do you do when there is almost what seems to be quite a consistent pattern of accusations of taking money which you're not supposed to, beyond saying, I didn't do this and I didn't know?
Well, let me say this. Each time we take a very strong stance on corruption, you get all sorts of allegations thrown at you. And this is what becomes a problem. So we have to deal with the allegation, get them investigated, then we are ready to follow whatever process of investigation. The issue of PRASA, the rumors were circulating, and this is one problem what you get when you are at either the ANC head office or Treasurer General, that people go out and use the name of the ANC for their own advantages. So people will send gossips out and circulate stories, and in this case we picked up a rumor that there was a transaction in PRASA, ANC a name was involved and so on. So I went to ask the chairman of PRASA, Mr. Ptelis, and he said to me, he didn't know, I must ask the CEO. I went and asked him, he said he didn't know anything about it, so I left it. A few years later, the story broke out to allege that the ANC had some money from PRASA, and I stood up and I denied it, because a number of times we pick up people who will use the name of the Treasurer General, the name of the ANC to get advantages. Sometimes we take photos and people go out and use the photos to say, well, look at me, I'm working with so-and-so, I'm standing in for so-and-so. It happens all the time. When that happens, we just need to say, in some instances, when I meet some of the business people, I tell them, here is my number. And if anybody says that they were doing something for the ANC, call me or tell them that I must call you so that we'll clear the issue. It happens out there, but we don't deal with it until we've got something concrete. In the case of this document, I looked at it and I saw that this thing is fraudulent. As far as I'm concerned, it was not a proper document. You can't follow the numbers. In some cases, the same number repeated several times, and all of that, and the handwriting over there, I don't know whose handwriting it was. So if you don't know, you might actually be taken. But some of the reporters who went into it saw this thing and realized that there's something fishy with this thing, and that's how it was dealt with.
Thanks so much for your time, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, joining us on those VBS allegations. We are following that story and will continue to keep you updated.